Okay, welcome to our presentation day here in software engineering. Today all the teams are going to present the results of their hard work that they mostly just wrapped up 5 minutes ago, or maybe still wrapping up right now. And I think we only have one pre-recorded presentation, but if your presentation is pre-recorded, make sure you submit it to Canvas so I can download it here soon. I'm going to play your pre-recorded ones at the end because I haven't seen any pre-recorded ones uploaded to Canvas. Last I checked about 15 minutes ago. So the way this is going to work, I'm going to join your channels. We're going to do a quick audio check to make sure I can hear you and that your voice pipes into the stream correctly. One of you is probably going to share your screen so that we can all see something, whatever it is that you want to show everybody. And then I will flip on the live thing and everything, and you'll present whatever you want to present. So I can hear all of you talking when I'm in your channel. I can see whatever you're sharing on your screen. If you want to switch screen shares, that's fine too. Just be aware that it might take me a second to sync. Make sure whoever has the best internet in your group is the one who is sharing their screen if at all possible. If you know you don't have good internet, then you probably shouldn't share your screen because it'll come out pretty grainy. It's already going through two phases, through me or through Discord, and then to me it's. Okay, so without any further ado, I guess I'll take volunteers. There'll be a slight bonus for volunteering to go earlier in the order. So volunteer in the general chat, and first come, first served for doing their presentation there, whatever order you come up in. You'll get a slight bonus. I don't know, maybe something like 5 points for first and one less for each subsequent volunteer, something like that. So if you know your presentation sucks, it's a quick way to get a nice 10%. All right, Scuff's going to go first. Collective Brain Cell's going to go after. Scuff already. There's two macro hards, but I'm guessing ink. Okay, so we've got Scuff, then Collective Brain Cell, then macro hard, and then we'll see who wants to volunteer after that. Collective, I think you pre-recorded yours, so I'll give you your bonus, but I'll still play you guys at the end. Alright, so again, if you have a pre-recording, please upload it to Canvas. I'm going to fetch that as soon as I can, and then I'm going to go in for audio check with the first of you as soon as I can here. All right, and we are live. Today we're going to start with Scuff Inc., so go ahead and take it away, Scuff Inc.
So our project is Frog
Right,
Finder.
and we are live. Today we're going to start with Scuff Inc., so go ahead and take it away, Scuff Inc.
Jack, can you mute yourself?
I got you. I just had YouTube open.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let's restart. Rob, go ahead.
Okay, so our project is it's called Frog Finder. If you want to, oh god, this is awful.
Alrighty. So how it starts is We launched 2 J frames, one being the pond, which 4 frogs are spawned on in random locations, and then the other is like your backpack for the frogs that you collect. And there is 4 frogs on the display. One might be hiding though.
So yeah, our different rarities, and I apologize. I had YouTube going in the background also, so it was a lot of echo.
Jack, relaunch the driver.
Yeah.
So we have four different rarity types. There's the base rarity, which is the platinum frog, which is our silver buddy or platinum silver looking buddy right there. We have the diamond sitting right next to it, which is our next rarity up. Black diamond down there, and then diamond comet to the left, which is our rarest type. So basically, what we have is this is the main screen. This is the pond where the frogs are generated. If you want to go ahead and click our platinum frog, what that'll do is that'll put it into our backpack, and there you go. You collected a frog. You can go ahead and click another one, and so you can think of this as kind of like your little frogpedia, almost. It's just kind of like just a checklist of the different frogs that you've collected, just to show you your progress, what you've done. Yeah.
There are 3 different versions of each rarity of frog as well that can show up in the code. So if you just minimize the driver real quick and go to the actual PDFs in the code, you can see what they are. It should just be listed. Yep.
These?
Yes.
Yep.
So for example, the one that's pulled most often is the silver. For platinum is this number 3 right here. However, if we go to platinum 2, for example, it's a much darker shade, which means it's not always going to be the same frogs that initialize each time, giving the player a different experience and a sense of satisfaction.
Yep. So lastly here, for future development wise, we're hoping to add the ability to put food and toys out to better attract more varieties of frogs. And that is Frog Finder.
Yeah, frogs are really cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill here. Just had a question. Where are the frog honeys?
So
We decided to. I believe we discussed this. If that was something that we ended up dropping out of the there's development decision that we ended up cutting.
Follow-up question. How much is the Comet Diamond Frog?
like how much to buy one?
Yeah, like how much money does it take to buy the Comet Black Diamond Frog?
So there's no paid. It's just a random chance. It has a much lower chance, significantly lower than the other rarities. But it's not a purchasable frog.
Okay, but I did
that's
see
something
you get one there during the presentation, and it seemed like you got it for free.
we did. That's just a developer function for us, just to showcase all the different types of frogs to you guys.
Correct.
We don't believe in the purchase of living things.
Uh-huh. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
One. And we're live. Welcome. This is going to be MacroHard Inc.'s presentation of Database Blob. Take it away, MacroHard Inc.
Okay. So basically, our program allows for 3 databases to be connected, and when we run it, you can select the database you want, and then it prints out database. This is Janet's spreadsheet for us. George, do you want to show what yours does?
Yeah, so as we all know, Janet's spreadsheet contains a lot of very important information for company code, and they have to be able to store it and then to find it. So
You're not live yet, George. You don't have your
I
stream up.
know which one would be this. I believe this one. Okay, good.
You're live.
Okay, so this is Janet's spreadsheet, which we had to print. You also saw it in Brock's print. And then this is my code. So basically, this is the code that prints Janet's spreadsheet. And then when I press run, here is Janet's spreadsheet with all of the lines and formatted properly. And everything works perfectly. And we also have methods for selecting collections, databases, inserting documents, adding stuff to documents, and deleting documents. But we can't show them right now. So Stefan will go next.
And here we also did it in PostgreSQL, and I was able to connect the database successfully with our company co-payroll, but we did not quite get the connection to run yet, but we have the spreadsheet completed in Postgre right here. And that is the third and final SQL that we did for this project.
And I also forgot to mention that we are using a cloud database for MongoDB. And yeah, that would be all.
Hey, Janet here. So
Hi,
I can
Janet.
print the database by just hitting Control P.
Yeah, you can press the run button and it will show you the database.
No, like when I have it open, I can print it by hitting Control P.
So the whole point of us printing it is not it's we're storing it on a database, and we're using 3 different databases.
Okay, but I can already do that.
What do you mean?
I can just open 3 spreadsheets.
Well, yeah, this is just to show you that it works. You can also manipulate it, so you can add stuff to your spreadsheet. You can delete your spreadsheet. You
Oh.
can.
Can you show
and
me
so
how
on.
to do that?
Not right now. I'm afraid we don't have enough time for that.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And we're live. Hey folks, the next presentation is going to be MacroHard Co. Ltd., which is working on the Marshmallow song generator. So take it away.
So you run the jar file. You have to place your sample files into the sample files folder, which will be created on your computer in the documents folder. Click the new song button. Give you a new song. Want to edit that song? Type it out in the select box, hit the button, and it'll give you a list of all the files that are in the song and all the files you can add or remove or change in the song. Let's say I want to add this Titanfall thing just at the beginning. Let's say I want to delete that now. Gone. So I'm going to replace that first one with that Titanfall song. It's replaced. Click Finish. It'll complain because that thing just always does. And that's it. That's all it does.
Hey, Steve here. Where's the music?
You go to the Documents folder, Song Generator. There's your music file.
Can we hear it? You mind turning that up a bit?
Pardon?
Turn that up a bit. Well, it sounds like EDM music to me. All right, I think that's all we need. And that's a wrap. And we're live, presenting Cornhub and Inquiries with their project Demo Sensor. Take it away.
Hi guys. So we are Demo Sensor from Cornhub and Inquiries. You can switch to the next slide if you'd like, Claire. Our project is essentially a web browser, and it censors all the words that contain demo, except for the words that the administrator puts on the whitelist. So those words are not censored. The administrator can also put websites onto a blacklist if they don't want them to be accessible by the users. Websites are automatically banned or blacklisted if they have more than 1.5% of words that contain demo that aren't on the whitelist. So the administrators have access to databases where they can search through the users, websites, and words. They can remove them and modify the lists as they want. So now we're going to show you the browser.
All right. The first thing that we want to show you as part of our presentation is kind of the just what the administrator can do. I mean, obviously, it's pretty straightforward browser here, but if you click this little options button in the top corner, the admin will be able to set their username and pass, but for demonstration purposes, just user and pass. They'll log into the administration database, from which they can view the website database, the user database, and their whitelisted words. And just to kind of show you what we can do, if you want to search for a website, hold on, let me pull up my Google Sheets database here for a second. Say we want to search for Winnie the Pooh. We'll see if that's on our database. Okay. We'll search for it, and we can see that the site is in our database. And we can also add websites. So, and hold on, let's try to add another website. One moment. Now. Okay, so let's try to add, say, Wikipedia's democracy page, and we'll choose a status. We'll have it banned. We'll add to database. Now the database already contains this URL, so we can't add that one, which is good. We don't want duplicates. When we can just try to do like google.com, and even if you type, it'll format the website for you. There we go. Okay, and now we'll do a little demonstration of just the censoring of the websites and stuff. So I'm just gonna delete some of those entries. Now we can just Google democracy and see what happens. And we can see that words containing democracy are now censored. If we go to, say, like I said before, the Wikipedia page for democracy, okay. All right, and we can see that all those words are censored as well. And that is our little browser, and we'll go back to our presentation. Hold on.
So the programming technologies that we used in making this browser would be Ceph which is the embedded browser for C# coding, and .NET WinForms, which is the project template in C#. And we also used a Google Sheets API, and this was to store the blacklisted websites and the whitelist, and that just connects to Google Sheets for our sensor.
So basically, we've got a one Sheets page with with some different sheets. So we've got a user sheet which will add people if they hit a site, and then we've got our whitelist. So the API reads from the Google Sheets database and connects to it and stores them in global arrays for everybody to access. Any questions?
Greetings, Cornhub. Thank you. I have an inquiry. The customer here. What would we do if we wanted to allow a web page that criticized demos?
That'd be very easy. You could go in straight to the straight into the admin page. Go here, log in. Wait for it to boot up. And you could type in whatever URL you wanted. See, we even have ones that are currently allowed. You just type your URL. You just say, we want people to go to Google, and we can say allowed, and we just add it to the database.
Oh, splendid. And what happens to the users who search the naughty websites we don't want them to search?
They are added to our user database, and the name of their machine is added to our database, and their external IP address.
Yes, is it their street address added?
No, it's actually not added. But with the external IP, you can find it contains anybody who's in that in their with using a specific router. So you could find them.
Oh, yes, lovely. That'd be splendid. Okay, good day then.
Good day.
One. Okay, here we've got 5 Devs LLC, and they created Okmon, the Jamaican trading card game. Take it away.
All right. So we hosted Okmon on Roblox, and here's the opening page for that on Roblox. And what you notice off the bat is we have support for private servers. Users can pay a small fee in Roblox to host their own private servers, and Company Co will get a slight cut of that from Roblox. And also, I can conveniently join my friends who are playing the game right now through this launch page. And here we're in the game, and they are all here, all stacked on each other, hanging out in the game. And the game has 3 main functions. So the first one is the deck editor and this deck shack. And as you can see, here's my deck of cards. I have a bunch of different banana cards and a bunch of these different creatures here. And I can add and remove cards from my deck by just clicking them. Another thing I can do is purchase cards in this purchase hut over here. Once I walk in this hut, I can buy cards with Robux. My account currently doesn't have 1,000 Robux, but I can buy Robux conveniently in the game. So here's the conversion from cash into Robux. And whenever I pay Robux in the game, Company Co will get a cut of that. So they didn't make a purchase. I just need to wait for the UI to show me that the purchase failed because I didn't have enough Robux in my account. But a secondary way that people can purchase cards is when they buy physical card packs, they get physical codes so they can enter them in the game to get packs. I conveniently have one right here, which I'll enter in. And here's the cards that I pulled from my card pack. I got some pretty good ones. Close that up, close that up. And now I will walk back over to the deck editor to see my new cards. Let's update real quick. All right, for some reason it's not updating. It might take a second, but while we're waiting on that, we also have a leaderboard which tracks the wins. Currently, we haven't played any games, but once we complete a game, this will be constantly updated for everyone who's ever played the game. Will be represented in this leaderboard right here. And on the side of my screen at the top right is for everyone on the server and their wins. So there's a local one and a global one for all the users. When you want to play a game, each user will sit in a chair. So if one of the other devs would like to walk over and sit in one of these chairs, the game will start. So you can see I have several different cards that I had in my deck, such as Vibe Cat, DG, Banana, and as you can see, each card has different properties, which I can see just with my inventory. Since it's my turn, I can draw a card. Looks like I drew an E card, pretty good. And I can play cards by simply placing them in the lane I want to go, and it will place in the correct lane. And I can just mouse over to see more details. When I want to give cards bananas, I just place in the same lane as well, and that card will be applied to the creature in that lane. When I want to end my turn, I can end it and pass it over to the next player. And they can make their moves as well. Currently, we are still working. The gameplay still needs to be worked on a little bit, but the main features, most important, the monetization aspect, are done. And let's see. I got my cards. Well, it will update. And that's okay, Mon.
Hi, Ishmael here from Company Co. I just wanted to know, what was your artistic vision for this project, and which school of modern art were you most inspired by when you created it?
A lot of our inspirations actually came from a mixture of Japanese art and so-called things, along with a lot of our creature card art coming from Baroque art styles from the early 1840s and thereon.
Would you say that the banana is a criticism of feudalism?
Only to the smallest extent, because we here at Five Devs really don't like integrating too much political conflicts of ideas within our game. We're here for fun and good times and stealing people's money, not discussing politics.
It sounds like you guys sold out. Is that accurate to say?
I wouldn't say we sold.
Thank you. And we're live. Our second to last presentation comes from Sanix, which created a tokamak nuclear fusion reactor simulation. Take it away, Sanix.
Hello. So, as Dr. Gorai just said, we made this simulation for our customer to simulate two particles fusing into one. You can see we have them separated into colors of yellow and green. Oop. We have and then they turn into blue after they have fused. This simulation will run on a computer. You will be able to adjust the speed as you've seen what I've been doing. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can rotate the simulation. You could pause it. You could play it. You could speed it up and slow it down if I start it again. So depending on the magnetic force, it'll go faster and fuse faster, or we could bring it down to a very slow snail's pace. And we are tracking the amount of fusions that are happening per second. And depending on the magnetic force, the gravitational force and the nuclear force will change at the same time. Now, as you can see here, all the particles have turned blue after we kind of maxed out the magnetic force and had the simulation just run at max speed. There's no more collisions that can happen anymore. No more particles could be fused into the newer, bluer particle. This simulation will also allow you to change the number of particles you wanted to have in the simulation. If we go back to editing the code, this little bit right here, we could change it to however many particles you would wish. We recommend 500 for it to work without any issues on a modern 500 or less. If you do more, I would do so at your risk. And I can show you in more detail with the force of gravity and the nuclear force. If we start off with a very weak magnetic force, it's down over in the 20s and 30s for the gravitational force, and the nuclear force is going up to thousands to 2000s. But if we speed it up to about 70%, the gravitational force skyrockets, and so does the nuclear force. They have a very correlative relationship on the fusions and the forces implied. With the program for the pause and play, if you ever need to pause a simulation and take a look at all the particles, you can just hit the pause button on the bottom left, and afterwards you can just click the screen. We actually have a little text box right here. Click the screen to play whenever it is paused. So if I ever wanted to restart the simulation, I can just left click and it starts again. You cannot pause with the slider, as the minimum speed is half the normal speed. The normal speed is 10% in magnetic force, and the maximum speed is 10 times the normal speed, which is 100% of magnetic force, which will complete the simulation very quickly. The customer wanted a visually pleasing and simple reactor simulation that does its job as expected. Nick, the rest of the group, is there anything else you think we would need to go over for this?
As Abe said, one of the important parts of this project was that it was very simple for people who were not familiar with the reactor or its properties. So it was one of the big aspects was making it as eye appealing as possible for any customer who is looking at it.
So anybody who doesn't or who isn't knowledgeable about fusion reactions could reasonably determine that this is indeed a fusion reaction. We have the particles that are in the yellow disappearing when they're fused with the green, and the blue particle, which is to symbolize helium, increases in size. So the blue particles are actually slightly larger than the others.
the two other particles that we use in this are deuterium and tritium, I believe, and those would fuse together to make the helium molecule, the particle that is inside of that fusion reactor that comes up as blue.
All right.
I think that is it.
Good day. Dr. Cornwallis here. How is the triple product represented, the ignition criterion?
That's all factored into the nuclear force.
Follow-up
Calculations
question.
because of that. Yes.
Is this how your upstart colony thinks nuclear fusion works?
This is what we were able to determine with the research we were able to procure over the time that we had.
Yes, understandable.
To put it simply, we wanted to have something that simply kind of gave a simulation of what the fusion would be like. Obviously, it is not the most complex model, but this is just for someone who may not be as familiar with the topic as you, Dr. Cornwallis.
So this is designed for example, an English infant.
Correct.
Correct. Also, this can run on like probably Windows 8 with like 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's very easy to run.
We actually measure those in kilobytes.
So roughly about 4,000 kilobytes.
And one more question. How many hand spans across is the reactor?
So it's a scale model, so approximately 50 hand spans.
You fools. Good day. Okay. This might take me one moment to set up technically, but here we have our final presentation of Battle Butters.
Partners, this is the head customer liaison here, Isabel Ganegi. We are happy to showcase our running program of Battle Butters for you. We would like to exhibit some of the key features and gameplay of Battle Butters today. I will now pass it over to our manager of One Collective Brain Cell, Zachary McElroy.
Hi, so today we will be simulating a game of Battle Butters, where we will play against the CPU in order to showcase the gameplay and some of the other functions, as well as some ways in which Company Co will be able to make more money. Passing it off to Carrie to talk about one of the first gameplay functions.
All right, so the function I'm going to talk about is how to place the waffle on the board. So there's 3 different types. So we have a 3x3, a 2x2, and a 1x1. And as Adam is showing this, you can place it anywhere on your board, inside the board, and they can be anywhere, like from on top of each other to right next to each other. So it's your decision on where you want to place the waffles to hopefully stump the computer. So I am now going to pass it off to Zach, who's going to talk about our product codes.
So for our product codes, we tried to think about how best to make Company Co. more money. And so we thought, well, how about we make the game pretty much unwinnable if they don't spend money and use these product codes in order to gain access to additional shots in order to better beat the CPU. So as Adam will demonstrate with our simulation, he will enter in a code.
So I'm going to enter the code, it's the baby, let's go, which will grant the player 10,000 digital sugar. So as you can see in the console, you entered product code, it's the baby, let's go, and received 10,000 digital sugar, and that amount was updated on the game board. So now that we have placed our waffles and the opponent has placed his or hers as well, it is now our turn to take a shot. So we will select a location on the board and we will shoot. So as you can see, a stick of butter overlaid on top of a waffle was revealed, meaning that there is an opponent waffle here. Now the opponent will return fire. He missed. So let's talk about some of the different shots that the player can fire to increase their chances of winning. So the jelly shot here, if a player has a sufficient amount of currency in their account, they will click this button and it will say purchase jelly shot power up here. And now the player is able to fire the jelly shot. So the jelly shot will leave a 3x3 landing or so on the board. It will have a 3x3 affected area. So if we fire this, it will affect 9 of the squares in the grid. So after firing that jelly shot, you can see that we have revealed what appears to be a 2x2 waffle as well as a 1x1 waffle, and now the opponent will return fire. As you can see, the CPU also has access to these different kinds of shots, which would make the game nearly impossible to win if you did not enter product codes from the products that Company Co. sells. So another type of shot is the jam shot, which we can purchase here for 25 digital sugar, which is deducted from our account. And when we fire that, the jam shot, it will essentially damage the entire row that the shot is fired on. So as you see, we fire here, and it appears that there are no ships or waffle fragments in this row.
So upon completion of the game, you can either quit prior to the game or you can take the game through to completion. But if you were to press the quit button, all digital sugar that you used with or got from the product code would disappear. Now, this was done in the efforts that a product code can only be used for one game, so that players would have to spend more money to purchase more product codes, which would bring Company Co. more money. And that concludes the gameplay simulation that we talked about.
I would just like to thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today. We enjoyed making the Battle Butters game for Company Co., and we are glad that you chose Collective Brain Cell Inc. for all your coding needs. We hope to be considered for more projects in the future, and thank you for sitting down with us. Have a wonderful life, guys. Thank
Okay, awesome. Whoa, I'm hidden down here. Hold on, let me get back. There I am. Okay. All right, thanks for tuning in to all the presentations. I think that we got all of them. If I forgot to get you, it's a group, then it means you didn't volunteer, and that's your fault. But anyway, that's it. So on behalf of all of us here at Company Co., we'd like to say, terrible job, you're all fired. Just kidding, you're not fired for your work. You're fired because your manager forged a bunch of paperwork, and we're just going to take it out on the whole team. So, Chad, you and all your minions are fired. Go look for a new job. All right, shortly I'll be moving everybody into the main channel in Discord, so you can head up there yourself once you've said goodbye to your team, and you'll go into your next group. Don't go into a group that you've already been in, obviously, and try to avoid anybody that you were with for the implementation phase. So you're going to probably be with people you've been with before, but try to avoid people you've been with for this implementation phase. And then it looks like you're going to have about 15-20 minutes to work on today's thing or just to read it over. So I'm going to try to pass all the code along to the next team, so make sure that you've uploaded everything that you want the next team to have to Canvas, because that's what I'm going to hand off to the next team for them to take it over. And in the little bit of time that you have left in class today, before you get to read the code and look at everything, I encourage you to fill out your peer review for this previous group here. Okay, see you in Discord, and nice job on all the presentations.